Hey Jess, sorry, I should have sent this yesterday. I'll give you a little bit more time. So I will be able to discuss today. Okay, but let me share a little bit of the what we're gonna look at. Okay, of the progress I've made and things I'll have to ask you. Okay, so I'm using this Notion. I'm a fan of Notion. Okay, then what we mentioned, storytelling and the opportunity. I just did a little bit of a review of that. Numbers, the P&L. This is quite important. Even though I didn't look at the big picture yet. Okay, because I just wanted to run this correctly, because now we can build the big picture. I'll show you action plan in terms of target list of VCs or investors and all this. Okay, in due diligence. All this is work in progress, okay? But just so you know, so this way we can be checking it, okay? And without excuses, but Wednesday and Thursday I was quite sick. And Monday I'm going to get tested, uh, find the cause, get treatment, blah, blah. Okay, then I'll go to the P&L first because I think it's the one that just has heaviest kind of content. Yeah, you see here, I had a problem, I had a small problem with a formula. Okay, then here, key concepts. Okay, this is maybe just an additional element, but it's kind of, I think eventually we'll need to go to this level in terms of who are our tech and our key target areas, which business model, because this will inform our marketing strategy. I know you're saying, hey, that's maybe not what I need now. But I think eventually we'll need this for sure. And we will need to determine this when we're pitching also to investors saying, hey, we have a very clear map of who are our core target. Blah, blah. Okay. Then these are some of the assumptions or hypotheses, or whatever. I put some data here. Okay. This is, but this is key. You know what is the size of the market, startups, brand, content creators, and by region. And then I put a bit of a timeline focus, but it doesn't really matter. Numbers. Then very important, you'll see some mate and data points here. I'll show you in more detail when we talk. Okay, don't want to bombard too much with this, but in the end, it's like, hey, what is the conversion rate that we believe when we connect with companies? Okay, I'm putting here 30%. 30% is relatively high. Okay, and here I'm saying that the engagement till conversion 2.5 meetings, which is doesn't matter. It's just a number. We can run this, and from your own experience, we would probably have to edit this and say, okay, actually it's higher. And but also let's not, you know what I mean, or not, because we also need to understand at the beginning, the early adopters are always like, hey, this is what I was looking for versus in the future. But it doesn't matter. This is really for, let's say, 1 year run. I think that's good. And then time, hours spent in every visit. This is a little bit, it's basically, and we're a B2B trying to sell to other companies. It's just a way to analyze what kind of progression we're going to have. And this just gives us some numbers, okay? Then months for a POC to run, and then conversion from POC to full Mavic. Okay, this is just some metrics. Sorry, you see how my voice is, but it helps to kind of map out the level of effort. And then there's our basic stuff in terms of users per POC and Mavic, and use per POC, and POC, users, number of users in a POC, number of users when full Mavic. Obviously, this will vary enormously. This is what I'm saying here, that potentially we will have to break down into revenue and size and go into more detail. But I think for now, that's absolutely irrelevant. Okay. And here, in terms of looking at your file, okay, so I changed it quite a bit. Okay, you told me you might have a file that's actually super detailed. Hopefully not, because now I did all this, but I mean, doesn't matter. Let's go for it. Okay, I like to put a lot of rows. Okay, why? Because all the data in one place. You can have other places where the data is coming from, but at least you can really, it helps when there's any mistake, it helps to track and where the mistake is. Okay. And then you can just hide stuff. Okay. And when it's not relevant, it just helps a lot. Okay. In terms of visualization, you can go down. I think the key interesting here is that you break down in terms of customers. This is the kind of traction that I mentioned before. Okay. And headcount selling. Okay. This comes from, hey, I have a salary. I'm paying a salary to someone to do sales. Important here. I broke it down here and in terms of what is the level of effort that people are making, like CEO, you're making 50% of your time selling. It's just an estimation, okay? This is the ways of working, obviously, but this helps to, and then what every person is doing, and basically focus on three things: infrastructure, selling, building product, or infrastructure. This is, I'm only putting here the CPO, like the CFO, as someone building infrastructure, the systems that help you scale at a certain point. Okay, right or wrong. Okay, the key thing is that this is up to us to edit. I wouldn't focus too much on the details. The details are really here. That's the idea of having the assumptions. You edit here, and this will change stuff here. Okay, then we're broken down by segment. Okay, how much money? I think the key thing is this is following your numbers. Okay, we can look at this afterwards because obviously you'll say, no, actually we have many more customers. Perfect. Okay, and this system is not ideal because it's built initially just on aggregate customers, and then I'm just breaking down how many customers does every group have by, I split them in equals. Doesn't really matter which each segment, startups, brand owners, and age. Obviously, in an ideal world, we build, hey, we're the traction for each one of them. Doesn't really matter. And we can edit manually. This is the good thing on the customer side. We edit manually if we think we need to override this. Oh, Lucía, ¿qué haces, Golfa? That's my daughter. ¿Qué pasa, Golfa? Estoy haciendo un vídeo, ¿vale? Vas a esperar un segundito. Vale. And I'm finishing in 5 minutes. And yes, come here, come here. Let's talk to empty Jess. Yes, 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 yes. Vale. This is what I'm showing empty Jess. Okay. Revenue. Okay. As you can see here, and then all the cost I put here. YouTube market here. We have barely any variable cost. This is how I segmented them from the numbers I had here. I understood that some of them were variable cost. This is the key, press the button. Can we accelerate? Can we not? Okay, I put here affiliate commissions, and meaning some partners that sell for us, LinkedIn pull ads, push. Obviously, this has to be filled out in terms of activities, depending on our discussion. And, and here you have all the employees. Obviously, we need to edit this. Okay, I took the numbers that you had here, the fixed cost. The key thing here that you're seeing, I'm trying to change this for this to be a line graph. Okay, but basically, looks great. It looks positive. Obviously, we need to look into this much more detail because I think the variable cost obviously will increase, and if we set up a plan, and in terms of numbers, these are not exceptional. This is not super high scaling. So obviously, we need to invest in marketing to accelerate, and we also need to focus on if there are any activity in terms of product that drives higher numbers. Okay. Muy bien, estás forzando muy bien, Lucía. And then I think the key thing here, okay, you'll see. Let's look at these numbers afterwards, okay? So we can work. This is just an initial. Obviously, I like to go into more detail, and not more detail just for the sake of detail, but like, what is the plan? Who are we targeting? How are we going to reach them? Okay. And let me take out the background. Okay, take my background. Doesn't really matter. Here we go. Okay, then when we look at the other areas, okay, you'll be able to see the storytelling. Okay, here I have the file. Okay, this is just an idea. I just took an iteration. Okay, no thanks. At the idea of your presentations. Okay, and focused a little bit more on the opportunity and saying, hey, branding is powerful, product is key. I just took another stab. Obviously, it might be right or it might be wrong. She's fascinated because it has nice pictures. It might be right or might be wrong, but it's just a way of thinking about it, of saying, hey, product, just drives additional, but the opportunity is very large. This is kind of connecting to the presentation that you have now. Okay. But a bunch of products fail. Okay. These are the reasons they fail. Okay. And then what are the, if you think about it, why is still so difficult? Because CEOs don't have trust in their teams, blah, blah, a little bit of what we did here, Mavic, and then a little bit focused on, you can just check it out a little bit, because I think it just helps you in terms of, or we can discuss a little bit of an alternative way of seeing the opportunity. It's still very raw. It's the first time I went for it. Okay. But I think it's an initial approach of saying, hey, how do we change our on how to pitch to investors and focus more on the opportunity for them to understand a little bit. Hey, marketing, you can understand that marketing is very powerful, but currently hasn't been done this way. He loves the pictures. Okay, and then the Mavic due diligence documents I'll show you in person. Okay, because basically showing you some due diligence done on some companies. And you'll see it's page like 20 pages of quite detail. And this is what they're going to be asking about for us. Okay, so this is quite important. And then the target list. I haven't gone into much more detail, okay, in that one, just because I want to discuss with you, okay, in terms of I do have access to quite a bit of information, but before I go into all that level of effort, let's discuss, okay, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what have you already, with who have you already talked to, or you don't want to talk to, or something like this, and then we can kind of arrange a plan. But I think it's very important the financials that we determine it makes sense, and we can scale fast enough that the opportunity is powerful, and then which are the investors and the timeline of when to be. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I hope Lucia really entertained because she can see herself on the screen right now. See? And I